It's a day to recognize one of the most pivotal moments in our country's history.
Juneteenth is representing and supporting the culture of Black people.
The closing of one of our nation's darkest chapters. Juneteenth honors the end of slavery in the United States. This year marks a new moment in America's future. This week, President Biden and Congress made it a federal holiday.
By making Juneteenth a federal holiday, all Americans can feel the power of this day and learn from our history.
But it's one many people still don't know much about. Today we look at the work to change that and how everything the day stands for can help in the push for equality. This is The Race. Welcome to The Race. I'm Chris Stewart. The origins of Juneteenth are here in Galveston, Texas. It was more than 2 years after Abraham Lincoln announced the end of slavery that word reached this town. The majority of Americans support Juneteenth becoming a national holiday, and this community is showing how important that would be in a big way.
Maya Angelou has a great quote: "History, despite its wrenching pain, cannot be unlived, but if faced with courage, need not be lived again."
There is power in paint.
Picture is worth 1,000 words.
To not only create picture, but perspective.
I would come through this intersection and see people walking by the Juneteenth historical marker and not always reading it. And I thought that wall would help us to tell a story.
Perspective is what Samuel Collins III hopes you will find when you reach this corner of Galveston, an island on Texas's Gulf Coast.
One of the goals is to tell the full story.
The local historian led the charge to create this mural in the exact place that on June 19, 1865, more than 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, Major General Gordon Granger, who arrived in Galveston with Union soldiers, many of whom were Black, signed General Order No. 3, letting the slaves of Texas know they were free. The day now recognized as Juneteenth.
Slavery was a very dark stain on America, but it's real. It's a real part of who we are as a country. And so while it's hard to talk about, it's important that we can put a face on that history so it is a conversation.
Reginald C. Adams hopes that can happen by taking in everything he and his team have painted on this wall, from images of the first Africans to arrive in the Americas through the more than 200 years of slavery to the present day and beyond.
I would describe this mural really as an outdoor classroom. There's 1,000 years of history.
Last year, the Harris poll found almost half of Americans admitted to not knowing much about Juneteenth. It's numbers like that which drives Collins to continue to tell its story.
Often bring individuals in to see the paintings, but then I ask them to pan to their right, and what you'll see through the window in the center is what you would have saw back in 1864 with individuals being auctioned across the street.
Inside the building that has the mural on the side, he's helped create a gallery of art and artifacts. Outside, a live webcam lets the entire country experience the display.
We all live in this American house. We're all on the deed. Citizens of today are on the deed of America's house. This house has some problems. It has bad wiring, bad plumbing, foundation problems. We have the responsibility as current owners of the house to fix it.
The name of the mural is Absolute Equality, words written in the order to free the slaves here back in 1865. And while art like this helps enlighten and educate on what equality truly means, for it to be truly effective, its meaning must be carried beyond here.
I'm not interested in an apology. I'm not interested in trying to go back in the past. I'm interested in what are we going to do today to do the work to make the house better for the future.
President Joe Biden made Juneteenth a federal holiday late this week, but South Dakota is still the only state where Juneteenth isn't a state holiday. Alexa Liacco is there with the people fighting to change that.
Open plains, Mount Rushmore, the heart of our nation. Timeless sights, the landscape of South Dakota. But it's changing.
We're becoming more diverse,
The Black community has more than doubled here since 2000. But with this growth,
I think there were 2 hush puppies already down.
Comes what many say is slow progress for inclusion.
Diversity is a thing that no one can take away from us, but inclusion is an act, and we all play a part in it.
Willette Capers and Julian Baudouin have spent the last year working with South Dakota state legislators to make that inclusion real.
And why would not we want this growing diverse community to feel like they are a part of this state as well?
They worked to make Juneteenth an official state holiday that would give state workers an additional paid day off.
What Juneteenth really represents is the promise for all Americans to be free. And it's the promise of tomorrow. It's the promise of the future.
At the beginning of this year, there were still 3 states that didn't recognize Juneteenth as a holiday in some way. But now South Dakota is the only state left to not recognize Juneteenth after 2 bills failed in their legislative session this year. Senator Reynold Nessebar wrote one of them.
There weren't any really strong opponents to this bill. I think somebody said that it could be potentially divisive. I see it just the opposite.
But with this effort's failure comes hope. Just days before Juneteenth, President Biden signed a bill into law to make the day a federal holiday. This business owner hopes people across the nation see making Juneteenth a holiday is about so much more than the bottom line.
As entrepreneurs, we understand the value of closing down on a busy day, and we understand why business owners do not want to do it. However, they do it on July 4th. They do it on other holidays. Juneteenth is just as important to us as July 4th is to the rest of America.
South Dakota's governor made a proclamation to ceremonially honor Juneteenth this year, but many in the community say that's just not enough.
Everyone has a responsibility to make sure not only are they educating themselves, but they're educating others. A history forgotten is a history repeated.
But even if this day feels forgotten by their state, these families will celebrate.
No matter what, I'm going to let my country, my culture, live through me.
The fight is absolutely just beginning. We do plan on introducing more legislation next year,
with the hope that next Juneteenth will be different. Not just a federal holiday, but one recognized by the state these families call home.
Every citizen in the state of South Dakota will have the opportunity to celebrate our freedom with us. All right, there you are.
For The Race, I'm Alexa Liacco.
Set of silverware.
More to come on The Race. Stick with us.